Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, helping you to live in tune with the natural cycles of the moon. This is your astrology horoscope for the new moon in Cancer, which occurs on Tuesday, June 28th, 2022 at 10:52 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 7:52 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, what I think is going on at this new moon in Cancer is that we are stepping into new and better experiences of life, as well as new and better belief systems that are more supportive of this new experience and more open to receiving abundance, which is beautiful. But even though we are stepping into new experiences and new beliefs, they still don't feel permanent, they still don't feel sustainable, and they still don't feel like they're coming in a natural, easy, and instinctual way, which is making us frustrated that we're going to have to learn how to handle better here and to sustain so that we can move forward. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you want to hear more about that, please do stay tuned because I'm going to hop into it right now. In order to get started though, what I always like to do first is to just place it on the chart so that you can see what it is that I am referring to. So I'm going to do that now. This video is for the new moon in Cancer. So we're going to look at that. I should also note as well that that is what I've adjusted this chart for. You can tell because I've got the moon and the sun here at the same degree and in the same sign. And when the sun and the moon are just so, that does make it a new moon. What are new moons all about? New moons are all about new beginnings, new energy, and fresh starts, of course, being the first phase of a new lunar cycle or new lunar month. Okay, what are we getting? A new beginning, new energy, or fresh start in? That has to do with Cancer because that's the sign that it's in. What is Cancer all about? Well, Cancer, for one, is a water sign ruled by the moon, which does have to do with our emotions. So one of the things that's going on at this time period is that we are getting a new start when it comes to our emotions and how we feel about ourselves and about life. Not only that, but I should also note too that I do consider Cancer to be our source of inner strength and where that comes from, okay? Because inner strength can only come from ourselves. So not only are we getting a new beginning or a fresh start at this time to just get new emotions or to feel differently, but I think we're getting a fresh start to actually feel stronger about ourselves, who we are, our situations, and what's going on. Not only that, but Cancer does as well have to do with a sense of foundation or grounding or our roots, since it is naturally correlated to our home and family. So not only do I believe at this time we're getting a new start within our emotions to feel new things or feel different about life, but I think we're getting a new start also to feel stronger about ourselves and better here and to build a stronger foundation or roots or sense of groundedness here within our lives and whatever it is that we are dealing with as we move forward. Okay, not only that, but I should also note too, again, that Cancer does have to do with our private and personal life, which could be our home, where we live, family members, or just things going on within us. So not only at this new moon are we getting new different emotions that I think are meant to be better and stronger here with a more firm foundation from which to grow, but I think a lot of us too may be adjusting things within our personal and private lives in particular here, home and family, in order for us to get that straight to or in just a better place for ourselves as we move onwards. Okay, one other thing that I might also note as well is that Cancer, being a water sign too, is very, very intuitive as well, which I think has been a big theme over the course of the past few months. So not only are we getting a fresh start at this time to feel differently, stronger, more grounded with a solid foundation in life and to work out some of our personal and private matters in that way, but I think too we're also starting to get more connected to our intuition or connect with our intuition and the divine. To me, they're correlated here in new and different and better ways as well. Okay, and I think that's all I'm going to say for the time being about the main themes here of this new moon in Cancer. Before I move forward though, to explain how those themes in particular are going to play out as we move forward. You know me, I always do like to go backwards in time just a little bit before we move on. And I want to go backwards in time in order to give you more of the context of how we got here and of why those themes I just described are now coming up to be felt, lived, experienced in some way, shape, or form. To go back in time, I'm just going to go back to the last new moon, which was the last solar eclipse. And the last solar eclipse, which was a new moon in Taurus here at the very, very end. I believe it was the last day of April of this year, right about here. All right, at April of 2022. What was that all about? Well, that new moon solar eclipse in Taurus, in my opinion, was about a new and better chapter in life finally arriving that we had been working towards for quite some time. And that was just, again, drastically different from whatever we had been experiencing, I think, in the years prior. And I think it was a new and better experience of life that was manifesting, especially with Taurus being an earth sign, in a more tangible way that we could see, touch, and feel here as we move forward, which was very, very nice. But even though these new and better experiences were arriving around that time, I think we really struggled to figure out how to move forward with them in a way that was going to work, which was very, very frustrating, especially around the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which came 2 weeks later, right here in May of 2022. Okay, and because we were in new and better experience of life, but we really didn't know how to move them forward, I think spirit, intuition at that lunar eclipse in Scorpio started to speak to us about how to move these new experiences forward in a better way. And I think what spirit, intuition, the divine was telling us was that we needed to move forward on these things in a slower way that's more stable, more secure here, and that's more in alignment with our needs and values, not everyone else and what they're doing, but with ourselves here, in order to get ourselves set as individuals here. And that would get things going. And I do believe that we not only heard those things from spirit, but at the next new moon, which was in Gemini, right around here, also in May of 2022, that we started to adapt, with Gemini being a mutable sign, to adapt to what spirit and our intuition had been telling us about going slower, more stable, more secure, and more in alignment with our own needs and values in this new and different place that had recently arrived. And that was wonderful. But even though a part of our soul and emotions and internally was adapting, I think at that time, our material world with relationships and money really didn't add up to what spirit was telling us and was still off. And because of that, we then made adjustments here to match our material worlds with the spiritual insights that we were receiving, which is that our material world also needed to be slower, more stable, and more secure, and more in alignment with our needs and values, especially when it comes to relationships and money. And I believe we did that, especially around that full moon in Sagittarius, which was 2 weeks ago here, the middle of June of this year. And I believe at that full moon in Sagittarius, we then started to feel all aspects, I think, of our life start to now come together in service of these new and better experiences, the emotions, the intellect, the relationships, the money here, in the ways that we need, and to be more stable, more secure here, more in alignment with our values and needs, which was beautiful, an exciting moment. I think very happy here in good ways. But even though it was a very good moment, I think in the days after that full moon in Sagittarius, there was something within our soul that was still resistant to these good and beautiful things that was starting to happen, and was still rejecting the abundance that we were now receiving, that I think a lot of us have actually worked really hard to get to over the course of the past few years. And because that was difficult and we were rejecting it, I think we've done a lot of inner work over the course of the past few days, in particular here, to really understand what these subconscious emotions and beliefs and habits are preventing us from accepting this abundance that is now here, and to address those so that they don't come back and so that they don't stop us from moving forward. And because I believe that we took time to address these limiting and sabotaging beliefs, habits, thoughts, and patterns, we now get to this new moon in Cancer, which is what this video is for, here in June, the last few days of June. And what is going on at this new moon in Cancer is that now we're feeling emotionally better about this new and better chapter in life, since it's here and we've adjusted our mindset and we're releasing the self-sabotage and the limiting behaviors and habits. Not only that, but it's also starting to hit home more, and we're also feeling stronger and more grounded with more of a firm foundation now in this new life here, since we've worked out some of the kinks and we're starting to feel, I think, more connected to our intuition and to the divine, and to let more of that flow. And we're getting some of our personal life, I think, as well in order to support that. Okay, and that's it, because that's all I'm going to say now about the context of this time period. I'm just going to repeat that one more time without the astrological jargon, so you can get a better sense of what I think is going on here. So let me do that now. What I think is going on now, the big picture context, right, for this new moon in Cancer, of which this video is for, is that we are now feeling emotionally different, better, stronger, and more grounded and more in tune with our intuition. And we're feeling those things now because new and better experiences in life have recently arrived more fully and in the way that they needed to arrive in order to sustain them. And because now we're more willing to receive the abundance that is now here without blocking it and pushing it away. Okay, and that's it, because that's all I'm going to say there. I'm now going to move forward in time so that you can see more specifically now how that theme that I just described is going to play out as we move forward. And to do that, I'm going to go through each of the specific astrological alignments and aspects here that the new moon itself is making at this time, as well as some of the other things going on. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hop in. And I'm going to hop in here with the new moon itself, with the new moon itself and the main aspect it's making. Okay, so I just placed it on the chart. Here's the new moon. What it's doing is it's making a square over here to Jupiter in Aries. Okay, now this to me is a good alignment. I tend to like it. I know squares aren't always positive, but I tend to really like Jupiter. That's just me personally, and tend to interpret Jupiter positively almost no matter whatever it does. Okay, why is that? Well, Jupiter to me is about wisdom and understanding. Where there's wisdom and understanding, there is positivity. Okay, so I tend to like that. Not only is Jupiter about wisdom and understanding, but I also do consider it to be a sign of gifts and good luck here, and of new things manifesting. So this to me is positive. In what way are we getting wisdom, understanding, gifts, good luck, positivity, new things manifesting? Well, it's in the sign of Aries. Okay, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, which is a lot about new beginnings, doing things in new ways, doing things differently. Not only that, but Aries is a Mars-ruled sign about actions, which I'm going to make synonymous to habits and patterns, right? Things that we're doing, habits and patterns here. It's connecting to Cancer, which is also a lot about our emotions here as we move forward. And I should note too, Jupiter's involved, which is naturally about belief systems. So what does this mean to me now in order to continue bringing it together? What this means to me is that at this new moon in Cancer, we have released a lot of old things, especially old subconscious habits and patterns that are keeping us stuck from better things coming into our lives, which are now here. And we're feeling more grounded in a different experience. And because we've released old habits and patterns and we're feeling more grounded now in a different, new and better experience, we are getting more wisdom and understanding about ourselves and what we've been through, but also about what we need to do next. Not only are we getting wisdom and understanding about ourselves and what we need to do next, but we're getting very new beliefs about ourselves and who we are, to replace the old ones we just released, and new habits, new patterns, new emotions, new ways of operating here in order for us to move forward. And we're seeing ourselves, the sun is about our identity. We're seeing ourselves very differently as a result, a new lease on life, if you will, which is bringing with the Jupiter a lot more optimism here for life. So I think that's what I need to say here. Just a lot of new things, new emotions, feelings, beliefs, habits, patterns, wisdom, understanding about our situation and how next to proceed. That's just beautiful. I think making us feel stronger and more together and more excited. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention here, happening around this new moon, and that's going to be Venus here in Gemini, making a sextile over here to Jupiter in Aries at the time of this new moon. Okay, this is also a good thing because it's a sextile, and a sextile I always interpret positively because it's an aspect between two planets and two signs in particular that complement each other, okay, and work well together, in this case, Gemini and Aries. So what is the good thing about this? Well, with the Jupiter influence square the new moon, we just got like tons of new feelings, habits, patterns, beliefs that are better, enabling us to move forward now into new and better experiences and the way that we need. And Gemini is a mutable sign about adapting. It's about adapting. It's about getting used to these things, especially in a non-emotional way. So we've got new beliefs, new habits, new patterns, new feelings, all the new things better, more grounded, more secure, more excited about what's to come. And we are having success adapting to these things without the drama, without the emotions here, and getting used to what's going on. Not only that, but I consider Gemini very open-minded, and we're very open. We're very open to receive. Venus is feminine, to receive whatever needs to come next and whatever we need to do next here in order to move forward in these better things, which is good. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention happening around that same time, which is going to be Mercury here in Gemini making a trine to Saturn in Aquarius. This to me is also a good thing as well for the most part, because to me, I also interpret trines positive, because trines are an aspect between two planets and two signs of the same element, air, which is what both Gemini and Aquarius are. So, and they get along. So I also am going to interpret this in a helpful way too. What is this about? Well, Mercury is about thinking and talking, and Aquarius is a lot about the future and about what's next. And this is giving us good thoughts and clarity about what is to come. So what that means to me, I guess, to bring it together so far, is we've got new feelings, new emotions, new thoughts, new habits, new patterns, new beliefs at this time, where we're now more willing to accept and receive these abundant new experiences into our lives in a stronger and more grounded way. And we're adapting to it easily. We're getting on board with it. We're open to receiving it without the drama. And that's now giving us a more clear vision, I think, of our future and of what's yet to come for us, and to start to see what we might want to do down the road, or who we might want to be down the road here as we move forward, which I also think is very, very good as well. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment I want to mention, which is Neptune going retrograde here on the same day of this new moon in Cancer. Okay, now I also like this alignment as well. I like it because whenever planets change direction, no matter which direction they're going in, to me, they do bring some kind of clarity about it, because the planet slows down enough so that we can focus on it in order to get some breakthroughs or see something we didn't see before. So this to me is also a very helpful thing here. I believe that it brings clarity with the planet and the sign that it's in, which is Pisces here, but also it brings clarity too, especially when it goes retrograde now, to the sign opposite as well, to kind of bring it into balance, which in this case is Virgo. Okay, and Pisces is a lot about, again, our intuition, our emotions. It's also about our past. And Virgo is about our daily routines and what we need to do on the day-to-day. So what that means to me, I guess, to continue bringing it together so far, is that not only at this new moon are we getting new emotions, feelings, habits, beliefs, thoughts, patterns that are more open to receiving abundance, and the abundance that's already here, and that's making us feel stronger and more grounded. And not only are we adapting to it without the drama and seeing a better future for ourselves as a result here, but I think we're also getting more clarity on things from the past and on what our intuition is telling us here, which is helping us to feel more organized, if you will, or just have better habits, or just a better set of daily routines where we're going about our day to day in a way that feels a little bit more effective, a little more efficient, a little bit more streamlined here, now that we're not dealing with these other issues as much as we once were, which is very, very nice. Okay, that then leads me now to the next alignment that I want to mention, though, and this alignment is a bit of a challenge here, the most difficult one that I'm going to mention. Now, this alignment is going to be Mars here in Aries coming into a square with Pluto in Capricorn too, especially because the new moon is kind of loosely in a square to Chiron here as well. And this is a challenge. This is a challenge because it's a square, which is a difficult aspect, and because Mars and Pluto are involved, which are malefic planets. Even though I do know that Mars is in Aries, the sign it likes to be in, but the ancient astrologers considered Mars and Pluto the difficult ones that typically do bring the biggest challenges, especially when they're connecting with each other here and by square. So this is unpleasant. What is the difficulty about this alignment? Well, Pluto wants permanent change and transformation so that we can evolve and grow as individuals, especially with it being in Capricorn, that's long-term and sustainable. And Mars and Aries wants to do things easily, naturally, instinctually. And I believe that actually neither of those are really happening at this time with these planets and with the square there. That is very difficult, bringing, yes, a lot of frustration with ourselves here, but possibly anger. Right? That's the hallmark of Mars and Pluto here, and in Aries, bringing anger at ourselves here, and anger at potentially other people who we might perceive to be in the way. So what does that mean to me now? I guess to bring it together so far, it means to me that at this time, we're getting new and better beliefs, habits, thoughts, patterns that are more conducive to a new experience in life that has now arrived, and to receiving the abundance and to letting it into our lives, which is very exciting, helping us to feel stronger and more grounded. And we're adapting to it like it ain't no thing here without the drama. And it's given us a lot of clarity on our future, our next steps, who we're becoming, and on our past, and helping us get more in touch with our intuition so that we can kind of streamline our life and go about it in a more effective and efficient way. But even though all of this is beautiful, it truly is beautiful, there truly are so many good things coming together right now, there's something about it that doesn't feel permanent or sustainable or long-term or long-lasting. And there's something about it that does not feel like it's coming naturally, easily, and instinctual. And we're feeling shaky, and we're feeling like we could lose this good stuff at any moment, which I think is making us frustrated and upset and angry at ourselves. Why can't we make this work? Why can't we feel good about this when we've been trying for so long? And angry at other people about why they might be struggling themselves, or why we might perceive them as in our way, of moving forward as well. That can be a bit difficult here and unpleasant. Okay. And because that's hard now, I'm going to give you some advice. And the advice I want to give you is really probably going to be related to Mars and Taurus, because Mars is going to move into Taurus a few days from now and be there for a while. And going to make some significant aspects there. So I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about that in a good way, because I think it's helpful. Not because Mars likes to be in Taurus. Mars doesn't like to be in Taurus. Mars prefers Aries. But because Taurus is just having a good moment, a very fortunate moment, with the North Node being there, which is a lot about our purpose and destiny and what we're learning at this time. And because the first eclipse in the series of eclipses on the Scorpio-Taurus axis was there too. So I want to see it as a helpful thing. What is helpful about Mars and Taurus, or what is it about Mars and Taurus that is now a helpful thing? Maybe that's the way to put it. Well, Taurus is a slower sign. Hate to say it. It's a slower sign still. Especially because Mars doesn't like to be there. And it's slower too because it's an earth sign, and by nature, earth signs are just slower because you're working with tangible physical reality, and because it's a fixed sign. So what is the advice? I think the advice is to still go slow, like to not give up on that, to not let that go, to still go slow. And I'm also going to correlate that with patience, right? When you go slow, a lot of patience is needed. So the advice is to continue to go slow and to be more patient. Not only that, but Taurus is a sign that's, picky and choosy. That's the word I'm going to use. Why is Taurus picky and choosy? Not because it's picky like Virgo is. Like Virgo can be super particular about things, but Taurus doesn't have the energy to do a lot of things, getting the stereotype of being lazy, right? And has certain values and certain needs that it wants to hold to. And when you have certain values and needs here, and when you don't have the energy to do a lot of things, you get real choosy real fast about what you're going to put your time and attention to here, because you don't have the energy and you don't have the time to deal with things that are not important to you. So not only is the advice for this time period here to, yes, continue going slow here and to be patient as you go slow, but to be more picky, choosy, or deliberate, whatever one of those words works for you, as you move forward here when it comes to your actions and when it comes to what you put your time and your attention into. Okay, why is that important? Well, if you've got something new that you're doing and it feels shaky and not permanent, the slowness, the patience, and the conscious, deliberate focus here of what you put your time and attention is going to fix that, Because when you go slow and when you're more deliberate, you give yourself more time for your emotions to adjust and for your instincts to adjust and for things to come together here, and for you to make sure you're doing the right things. when you're going fast, and when you don't care what you're doing, it's a free-for-all. A lot of times what happens is that you're not giving yourself time to adjust to these situations here, or you're getting back into old situations that you didn't even realize that you're getting into because you're not thinking about them and you're just moving forward and doing whatever. So that's the advice here to move forward. And it is this slowness still. I know it's been a theme this whole year, but it's that slowness and this deliberateness about what you do and how you do it and who you do it with and at one time that is going to actually be the solution to the issue, to bring more things together that it is that you need. Okay, and that's it. I think that's the last alignment I'm going to mention here in this video, because that's it, and it's 222 on my clock over here. So hopefully that's a good sign. There, it's 222. Meaning important choices and decisions to stay on the right track, right, need to be made at this time. But anyways, done with that. Sorry, I get distracted by the angel number over here. Anyways. I'm going to repeat that. No, what is going on? Without the astrological jargon, what I think is going on in this time period now, just to bring it together, is that we are finally in a new and better experience of life. I think in all the ways, it's finally here, which is very good. And we're getting now new emotions, new beliefs, new habits, new thoughts, new patterns here in order to better facilitate these new and better experiences and to receive the abundance that is now coming with them, which is giving us a new lease on life, helping us feel like different people and giving us more optimism here as well. Not only are we getting tons of new beliefs, experiences that are much better for us, but we're also adapting to them very easily without the emotional drama perhaps of the past here, and it's giving us more clarity on our future, ourselves, our next steps here, on our intuition, on what we're feeling, and helping us to better organize and streamline our life, especially our daily existence, in a way that just feels more clear, more clean here as we move forward, which is wonderful. But even though a lot of good things are coming together here in service of some new and better existence in life, there's something about it that just doesn't feel permanent, doesn't feel solid, doesn't feel sustainable, and doesn't feel like it's coming naturally or easily, even though we get it here, which is making us frustrated and upset and possibly even angry at ourselves or angry at other people because we're still feeling blocked in some way from proceeding in the way that we might like. And because things are really going good here, but it just doesn't feel sustainable, which is upsetting us, I think what we need to do is we need to proceed with more patience and more caution and more slowness here, so that we can be more deliberate about what we're doing and how we're doing it here in order to fully bring this stuff together, so that we don't fall backwards into old things that are not meant for us anymore as we move forward. Okay, and that's it. Okay. Now what I like to do is just add a few extra points in a more conversational way. So I'm going to do that now. I think the first thing that I want to say is that I like this new moon a lot, to be honest. In Cancer, I think there's a lot of good things that are going on right now for the most of us in our lives, where we're experiencing just new and better experiences, I think really across the board. New and better experiences with relationships, new and better experiences with money, especially if we've been making changes previously, new and better emotions, new and better thoughts, habits, and patterns. So I really do love that. Do I think that there are probably more new things yet to come? Yeah. So I do think there are more new things yet to come by the end of this year and onwards, but I think we're currently experiencing a lot of new, beautiful things. So I really do love this new moon. The only challenge with this new moon, though, is that these new things just don't feel permanent, sustainable here, and they don't feel like they're coming naturally and easily here, and they're not, right? That's the truth. The truth is that they're not permanent, sustainable, and they're not necessarily coming the most naturally and easily to us, and we just need to go slow and be more deliberate, about what we do and how we do things as we move forward in order to keep things on the right track. The other thing that I want to note too is that there is a real challenge of falling backwards. I think maybe that's probably because this new moon is so good, I really don't have much to say, but I do need to note that there is a real challenge of falling backwards here. And I mean falling backwards now, but I especially mean falling backwards next month, the new moon in Leo, and in October. Because next month we're going to have that Mars, it's going to enter Taurus, make a conjunction to both the North Node and Uranus after a new moon in Leo, which is kind of like bold and risky, if you will. And we're going to have a solar eclipse in Scorpio in October on the South Node, which isn't as helpful. So I think the thing, really the main thing I need to emphasize here is that good things are going on, finally, to get us in new and better experiences, but they don't feel permanent, long-lasting, or easy or natural. And they're not here. And we need to spend the time now doing what we can to make them permanent and sustainable before doing anything else, before taking any big moves and any big risks as we move forward. Okay, and the reason why we need to take the time to do that now is because if you do not do that now and make these new habits and patterns sustainable, then big challenges can come later. Big challenges can come later as soon as August, like where are we now? Yeah, as soon as like the very beginning of August here at that new moon in Leo, and but definitely in October. So even though this message sounds kind of light, it feels kind of light to me, at least since we are at the solstice, a lot of light in the sky. Even though this message to me feels kind of light and is kind of like good things, new things here, they're just not permanent. Like there is a depth to it, and a seriousness to it underneath the surface that needs to be understood here. And the seriousness is that you have to make these new things sustainable and permanent and come to you more easily and naturally. Because if you don't do it now, and now is the time where there's the support to do it, then you may do something, especially a month from now in August or in October, that's not going to be right. That's not going to be in accordance with these new situations and these new lifestyles here. And that's going to create issues here in your life as you move forward. So you really have to focus on that. Okay, what are the issues that could come up just a month from now and in October, August to October? Well, what could happen is that in August, after that new moon in Leo, right? Leo's a risk taker. It's bold, being fire and masculine. You could do something in a Leo season after the new moon in Leo, a month from now, to bring something new and more new into your life, a new relationship, a new job, a new money source. You could do something new, but you could do it not from this different place because it hasn't been sustained. You could bring a new relationship, a new money source, and you could fall back into the same habits and patterns that occurred all of 2021, all of 2020, and for some of you, your whole lifetime, for many decades prior to that. And when you try to bring something new in August to October, and if you're not firm yet in the new stuff and you fall backwards, then that new thing you try to bring into your life in August and October is going to fail because it's going to recreate the same issue that you've had here over and over and over again. That's just still going to be a mess. So I think that that's really probably the most important thing here to say, is that, maybe just to repeat, is that like, I love this new moon. I think it's good. I think there's new, better, everything coming into our lives, starting to hit home here, but it is not at all long lasting, permanent, sustainable, natural, easy, or instinctual quite yet. And that is very serious here and needs to be dealt with ASAP, needs to be dealt with to make it permanent, sustainable, long-term, easy, and instinctual. It needs to be dealt with ASAP the next 4 weeks, which is what is going on here. It needs to be dealt with ASAP, because if it's not dealt with ASAP, then what may happen August, as soon as August, 4 weeks from now into October, you may try to add more new things on and the foundation isn't going to be strong enough, because remember, Cancer is about foundations, not going to be strong enough, and everything's going to fall apart because you realize it's all made on a house of cards, right? And that you haven't fully integrated these things. But if you do, maybe I should give you the converse, but if you do take the time to make these new things sustainable, then some of you are going to bring in a new relationship or a new money source or something come October. It's August to October and onwards, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful, and it's truly going to be built on something new, different, and more sustainable for you from here on out, and to just be aware of that. Okay. Especially too, I need to know, this is a huge thing as well, because Cancer, where the new moon is a nostalgic sign. It is a sign of looking back, at the past in a lot of ways, or a sign that does tend to do that more than the others as well. So I'm telling you, there's a real need to get this stuff set and solid before doing anything else. Okay. Because, and how again, how do you make something permanent, sustainable, naturally, and easier? Slow, patience with yourself here, and being more deliberate and conscious about what you do and what you don't do here as you move forward. Okay. Another thing too that I want to emphasize is that because this is what's going on here, we really need to ground this stuff to make sure that it's sustainable and can last. This new moon, and really I think these next 4 weeks in particular, are not really a time to do new things, to be honest, especially with all these planets in Gemini now. It's not really a good time to do a bunch of new things. Leave that for later. Leave that for August. Leave that for September, October. It means that these next 4 weeks are really a time of personal reflection, and of you getting right with yourself, and of you, overcoming a lot of personal issues that are preventing you from moving forward, which for a lot of you can mean resting. Cancer's kind of a restful sign, resting, meditating here, or doing something, with your home and family in order to get that in order, which will facilitate some of this as you move forward. Okay. So I hope that's clear. New things are happening. They're not permanent and not sustainable quite yet, which is a very serious problem here. Take the time over the course of the next 4 weeks to make these new beliefs, habits that's sustainable and permanent. And the way to do that is not to do 500 things at once fast and bring a whole bunch of new things into your life. No, the way to make these things permanent, sustainable, easy, natural is to go slow, be patient with yourself, be more conscious of your behaviors, and more deliberate about what you're doing here. Okay. And to use the time right to reflect on your emotions and to rejuvenate. And you doing that is then going to help you next new moon, 4 weeks from now, the new moon in Leo in August to October, then take more risks, calculated risks, to bring more new things into your life with relationships and money to build on top of the foundation that you're now setting, that are going to be really good and I think really long lasting from here on out. But if you don't do this, if you don't take the time these next 4 weeks to make these new habits permanent and sustainable by slowing down and being more deliberate, then what may happen is that you may, come August, bring more new things into your life in October and realize that you can't sustain it. You're not strong enough. The foundation of yourself, your emotions are not strong enough to sustain it. And you've got some self-sabotaging behaviors and habits and patterns that you didn't see that are going to revert you backwards and destroy the progress that you made and have a lot of things come crashing down here. So you got to be careful about this as you move forward. Okay. So that's what I'll say there. If some of you are not feeling new and better things manifesting in your life at this time, which is like the foundation of this horoscope, okay, then in my opinion, it's because something wasn't done right over the course of the past few months and years, which is that you didn't cut things out of your life that aren't meant for you and tell people off, to be quite honest, here, or start to bring some different things in that it is that you needed as well. So keep that in mind. If this isn't resonating, there's some old energy that you're stuck in, you might need to revisit and to look back at some of my other previous horoscopes here in order to get to that. Okay, another note as well that I want to say here too is that I personally, just my opinion, believe that the collective is always behind the energy of the times. So, you know, if you're looking for an example of how to live your life, don't look at the mainstream culture. It's never going to be where it needs to be. It's always behind. So keep that in mind as well. Here too, that when determining what to do next or where to stand, I wouldn't look towards the news or the media of this time, because it's just not always representative of the way things are going here as you move forward. All right, now let's go ahead and let's look at your inside degree. The inside degrees were not written by me. They're written by someone else named Elias Lonsdale, who channeled the meanings of each of the degrees from Spirit. But I really like his opinion. And I think that it gives another voice other than mine from which to make sense of these lunar events. So we're going to look at that. The new moon is at 7 degrees Cancer. I actually liked 7 degrees the best this time. So I think that's what I want to read first. It says this: envisioning a way of life that is both utopian and practical, dreaming of a very different mix in the socio-cultural shared life, motivated by the knowledge, the clear sensing that all of this can be and must be, wide open to the limitless cosmos. What does that mean to me so far? It means to me that at this new moon in Cancer, we are literally getting a new way of seeing life, where we're feeling like we have lots more opportunities and potential for our future here that's just much better for us as we move forward. Look at this, and we're getting a more clear view. It says nominated or appointed to restore the total view, and we're getting a more clear view of what is yet to come. Okay. It also says this too: yet zealously drawn back into time to fertilize the ordinary landscape. So I'm getting a sense from this degree that not only are we starting to get like a new vision of our life and what's to come that's more hopeful, like more abundant, like giving us more clarity here, but that we're really trying to make the ground fertile. We're really trying to make the place where we are now fertile so that even more can come after this. Okay. And that sometimes in order to make where you are fertile, you kind of have to go back in time to make sure that you're not repeating the same things over again, right? And are conscious of that. Okay. Then we get the next degree, Cancer 8, which I think sometimes is also relevant as well, that I also like too. That's very hopeful. It says the code here, let me pull it up on the screen. The code that brings everything together is here remembered and insisted upon. You cannot shake off the authoritative understanding of the higher aspect in its call. If you believe in the birthright of realization, yeah. So I think Cancer 8 is also to me saying that like good things here are coming into existence, that are higher, that are telling us what's next. Okay. I also like this part too. It says that these new things, right, these new and better things that we're entering into are calling up wild events and experiences to challenge and to rally our understanding and to renewing itself. Here. So another thing that I want to note too is that according to this degree is that we are new and better experiences. I really do believe that they're coming together here, and we do need to make sure that they're grounded and that the ground is fertile for more to come here, but that any challenges that do manifest, because there is that hard Mars Pluto alignment, are really meant to show us in what areas we've grown, in which areas we aren't, and in which areas we're strong and in which areas we're not. So any challenges that manifest at this time are simply to draw us more further inward to reflect on how we can more fully sustain and get stronger in what it is that we're doing, instead of knock us off course and to see any limitations or setbacks as simply that, just portals to reflect more on your weaknesses so that you can overcome them. Okay. Okay. And I think that's what I feel. Some of you can read Cancer 6. I'm sure it's going to apply to some of you. You're going to feel drawn to it. But I think 7 and 8 to me are where I feel that we're at. Another thing that I wanted to note as well is that when it comes to these new things that it is that we're sustaining here so that we don't fall backwards, they are the new and better experiences with relationships and money, but they're also the new and better beliefs, habits, thoughts, and patterns as well that are going to facilitate all of that. And the new beliefs, habits, thoughts, and patterns that are going to facilitate these better new experiences are that we need to go slower, more stable, more secure, more self-reliant, more in tune with our needs and values, and be more open to accepting abundance here and good things into our lives from here on out. Okay, and that's it. Because that's it, I'm now just going to pull your card. Okay, to give more information. And we've got here the Four of Swords. Upright, man. What an interesting card to get. And we've got the Five of Swords. We've got the Five of Swords upright as well. Okay, so what is this about? Well, I've said a lot in this video here that we're in new and better experiences, but they are not permanent, they are not sustainable, and we can lose these things at any minute now, especially August and especially October, which can revert us backwards and be very unpleasant here, and that we need to go very slow and be very deliberate now about what we do and how we do it to make sure that we're nurturing everything and bringing it together. And this indicates to me that that's actually going to feel very unpleasant for a lot of you, because this is like this in this card, the Four of Swords is like an animal raging and tied up. So I feel like we need to go slow now to sustain these new things and make sure they're long lasting. But I feel like a lot of you don't want to do that. A lot of you just want to keep on keeping on, you know, either doing what you've always done for many years and decades prior to this, or just doing whatever you want with these new and better experiences that are now here. And the advice and I think that that's very frustrating for you, maybe causing you to feel frustrated and get mad at yourself, because this is like a card of conflict, the Five of Swords, and get mad at other people. And I think that the message here is like, do it anyways. You know, even if you don't want to slow down to sustain these things, do it anyways, because you taking the time now is going to protect you against all this other stuff that you're going to do later on. Not only that, but I see the Five of Swords about choosing your battles. And I think the Five of Swords does mean choosing your battles now, right? Because some of you could be getting in arguments with people, especially if you're feeling like this caged animal, like you can't move forward. So I think there's also a note too, that because a lot of you want to move forward faster on these new experiences, but really need to not do that and take the time now to get right with yourself and sustain things, and you're feeling frustrated. Some of you may be getting mad at yourself and other people, and you need to really choose your battles here, because getting mad about this isn't going to really help anything. Like you getting mad that you have to go slower and be more deliberate, like is not actually going to fix something, or you being mad that someone else is making you is not going to fix anything here. The going slow and the being patient is another thing too. Okay, and then that's another message too. Be careful about any arguments that may come up at this time. Try not to get into them, because I just really don't see arguments being the most helpful here, or resolving anything, you know, and because the other people aren't the issue, right? The issue is an internal thing with the Cancer influence. The issue is an internal thing of us trying to sustain something and nothing to do with someone else. Okay, especially if you've done what you needed to do prior to this. Okay, another thing that I want to note too is that not only did I see this as choosing your battles now within like the next 2 weeks or so, 4 weeks, but I also saw this card as choosing your battles in terms of the rest of the year. You know, do some of you want to have it easy and fun now? Do some of you want to have a free for all now and fun, do whatever you want fast, and then get hit later in August and October because you didn't do something right? Or do some of you want to have, you know, a challenge, maybe a frustrating month over the course of the next 4 weeks in which you just chill to sustain something, but then have a beautiful August, October beyond your wildest dreams, like dreams coming true? Like, what do you want? What would you rather do? Here, I know what I think we should all do and what I would rather do, which is feel frustrated now to sustain these things so that later I can be rewarded. But be aware of that and choose which path you would like to be on here as you move forward Okay, so that you're moving forward with eyes wide open here about what situations you might create from here on out. Because I think that's going to help here. And if you choose to maybe slow down and be patient now, even if you don't want to, then know that good things are going to come. Yeah. And if you choose now to keep going or whatever, then know that you may be feeling this way later on. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that you all have a good time period here, and I'll talk to you on the next video. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.